Might be you studied, correct? Now, it is the time to see. Last class I already started with handling the exceptions. What do you mean by handling the exceptions? Converting technical error messages into user-friendly error messages. How many keywords are there? Five. What are those? Try. Come on. Try. Except. Else. Next is finally. And guys. These are the keywords which are used for handling the exceptions. But at the same time, I need to move to the these keywords are directly or indirectly helping to convert technical error messages into user friendly error messages. So, which are going to give you syntax for handling the exception. Syntax for handling the exceptions. Syntax for handling the exceptions we are going to discuss. What is the syntax for handling the exceptions we are going to discuss now? Very, very simple. Try to follow me carefully. So some sort of statements here. Null writing with a try. Try. Last class, I already started with one example also student. What is an example? You try to watch it. Here you try to open. This is the code I written in the last class. Did you remember that? dv1.py. Program execution started. Program execution ended. This is a program which where I did not use these keywords. This is simply called which program? It is one of the weak program. It is one of the weak program. It is one of the weak program. It is called. Students, when I run this program, I'll show you once again. Yesterday was already run CMD. So there I'm going to take up. Run as an administrator. Here I'm going to take up E colon, E colon. So there I'm writing KVR, Python. So 7 a.m. CD exceptions here. CD exceptions here. There I'm trying to talk about div1.py. I'm running now. Py, div1.py. There I'm getting program execution started. Program execution started. Now entering the first value here. So there I'm going to write it, the value called 10. Enter the second value, I'm entering 2 here. So in this case, I'm giving valid input. This is called a valid input. So PVM will execute all my statements perfectly and finally gives the answer. Finally gives the pop output. Finally gives the output. So here I'm going to give you output is coming, execution ended. Started and ending is successful. In the case of each input, valid input that I already mentioned it. Run this program name now. Enter the first value. I am entering 100 here. Enter the second value called 0. What happens because of that? Line number 3, PVM when it is processing my statements, in all these statements, no problem at all. In the line number 12, you are entering for this statement, it is becoming what? A by B, A by B, A by B. That is, denominator is 0, it is becoming 10 by 0. I am saying 10 by 0. When I enter 10 by 0, what happens here? When I enter 10 by 0, generally in mathematical, it is not possible. And PVM is also not able to process. If any statement is not able to be processed by the PVM, that is just considered as an exception only. When the PVM is not able to process because of the wrong input only. So that is considered as an exception. That is simply called as an object in Python. That object need what here? Exception class. Exception class is required. But that exception class is called what I said last is zero division error. So as a programmer, what you must understand, because of the line number 12, what is occurring? Zero division error is occurring, correct? So that is your ultimate talent to gather in the class. Because of the line number 12, what is occurring? Some exception is resulting. What is that exception name? Zero division error. So as a student, What we need to understand is, by looking at the statement, you must understand about which exception will come for which purpose. Which exception will come for which purpose I am going to take up. Here, when I press enter key, because of this line number 12, this is resulted. This is the resulted one. That means when this line number 12 is taking place, rest of the statements are not able to execute. That is what I said. When an exception occurs in the Python program, the following steps takes place. PVM, program execution abnormally terminated. PVM comes out of the program flow. PVM by default gives which message? Technical error message is coming. These technical error messages are understandable by the programmers, not by the end users. So to give these messages by the end users, to understandable by the end users, we must go for using exception handling here. This is what exception handling will do. Moreover, all exceptions in Python programming are simply considered as what? Objects. That I already said, students. Division by zero, which is not a new for you, which is a older one only, already discussed in the beginning days. Any error is occurring, any type of thing, like if you take it as string data, when you pass wrong index, you will get what error? Index error. When you pass wrong key error. All errors which you have seen is called what? Exceptions we can call. Are you able to follow me? So zero division error is coming. So here the line number 12 is simply called as what? Exception generated statement. Exception generated statement. So I'm writing here exception generated statement. Exception generated statement. Exception generated statement. The line number 12 is an exception generated statement. When the input is, when the denominator is zero, that will give you what? Exception generation will be coming. So line number 12 is an exception generated statement. That is what we need to recognize. Next, another part of that. This is called what? Unsuccessful running. Next case is what? Py, div1.py. Another time I am running 10 and then now I am entering KVR. Here I am entering KVR here. Because of that, what is happening? Line number 3, line number 3, line number 4, line number 5, line number 6, line number 8, 7 and 8. So because of seventh line, we are unable to convert or not. So line number 7 and 8, both of them are which statement? Exception generated statement. Why they are exception generated statement? They can convert valid numerical strings only can be converted. They cannot convert what? String data. String data cannot be converted. That to pure string cannot be converted. Where we discussed already in typecasting only. So this will give you what? Value error. So line number 8, this message is called what? Technical error message. So line number 8 also what statement here? Exception generated statement. Exception generated statement. Here also it is called exception generated statement. One more thing, I will run my code. Here I will enter beginning only A123 and B is called 5. There also line number 7 is called again exception generated statement. This is also exception generated statement. Here I am writing exception generated statement. Are you able to follow? So in this program, there are three statements or main statements which are generating exceptions. What are those? Zero division error, zero division error. This is a one thing. And next is called, this is what? Value error. As a programmer, we understood. Suppose if we don't know the exception names, automatically these are exception names are coming or not? Automatically these exception names are coming. For Python environment only giving that messages here. So exception generated statement, exception generated statements we are getting here. Finally, I'm going to give you conclusion here. So here I'm going to write it. Here I'm going to say div1.py. This point will give you exception generated statements I monitored. And I identified the name of the exception here. So coming to the point of it, now I'm going to take up value error because of the line number 7, 8. Because of the line number 12, we are getting what? Come on, zero division error. So coming to the point back, because of this kind of thing, how can I convert into those technical error messages into which messages? User friendly error message. That's why I'm going to use the syntax. Try. Now I'm writing. Try is a keyword, students, actually. Try is a keyword. Except is a keyword. Else is a keyword. Finally is a keyword. Rise is a keyword. Try. Now there I'm writing it. There I'm writing. Under the try, I'm writing indentation symbol. From now onwards, we need to call it as what? Block. Try block we can call. Something like what? If we are writing some test condition we are saying, and we are writing some block of statements or not. So like that we are writing here try and a colon, that is known as what? Try block. Here I will write it what, students? Block of statements, block of statements generates exceptions. Block of statements generates what? Exceptions. So what you are supposed to tell, now I'm going to say, because of this program, no try is there, no else is there, no except is there, nothing is there. If any exception is occurring here, it is simply leaving the program and generating which message? Technical error message. But when we come to this line number, when we come to this kind of try, what is our interest next? Whatever the code we are writing, if any exception is occurring in this code, it should not leave the program. It should not leave the program. What you have to do? When an exception is coming, it should not leave the program. It should come out of the process and it has to give what message? User friendly error message. So it should not leave the program. It should come out of it and it has to give only user friendly error message. So what is happening? Block of statement generating exceptions. Because of writing the statements which are generating exceptions under a try block, what is happening? PVM will not leave the program flow. PVM will just come out of what? A place where exception is occurring. In this case, when I write the statements under a try block, but PVM will come out of which block? Try block and go to where? Except exception class name you need to write. Exception class name. Exception class name 1. I'm writing here exception class name 1. Which means zero division error and the value error, such type of things will write it. And there I'm writing block of statements, block of statements. Come on, what is this now? Generates user friendly error message. User friendly error message. User friendly error message. Try block, block of statement generates exception, except exception class name 1. Block of statements generates user friendly error messages now. Are you able to follow now? Right, students? Come out of that. Here I wrote it. How the flow will be? First you understand. First PVM will come to which block? Try block. What are all the statements are generating exceptions? Right under try. If any exception is occurring in try block, simply come out of which block? Try block and looking for immediately which block? Except block. Whatever the exception PVM got it, if you write that exception name here, then PVM will generate this type of statements what you have written without generating which messages? You technical error messages. So generally because of this process, what will happen? User friendly error message you can develop it. Are you following me? Suppose if zero division error is coming, I will write here zero division error colon. I will write what message here? Don't enter zero for denominator. So suppose if value error is occurring, except what you have written? Zero division error. That time value error what is occurring is not matching with what? Zero division error. That time it looks for second except block. Second except block you did not write it. That time it leave the program flow. So there you need to write it what again? Except what I should write it? Exception class name 2. I need to write exception class name 2. I will write exception class name 2. Exception class name 2. Block of statement generates what? User friendly error messages. Are you following? What are all the exceptions are there in my Python program? Almost all the exception names I need to write it because of giving we what specific user friendly error message. If we keep the card reverse order, I need to tell what remove the card and insert properly. If you enter the wrong input in amount withdraw, I need to say what insufficient funds. If pin number wrong, I need to write one more except block saying that what is happening. Invalid pin, try again. Are you able to follow? Like that, I will write what here? Many number of except blocks, I will write it. Many number of except blocks, I will write it. Except exception class name N. Block of statement generates what? User friendly error message here. Are you able to follow now? Try block of statements generates exceptions. Except the exception class name 1. Except exception class name 2. Except exception class name N. I think you are following me. So these are comes under what here? Try block contains exception related statements. Except will contain what? User friendly error messages. How the flow will be? First PVM comes to where? Try block. It executes a block of statements. During this execution, any exceptions are there. It will go to the appropriate except block. If it is matching here, it will execute that and it will go to the further place. Suppose if it is not matching here, it will go to the second. If it is matching, it will execute and further it will go. Next, it will go to this. If it is not matching, it will look. No except blocks are matching, it will go out of the program flow. If no exceptions are occurring in try block, no except block will execute. No except block will execute. Are you following me? It will execute. What it will execute? Else block will execute. Which block will execute? Else block. If no exception occurring in the Python program means what is ready? What is ready? So what is ready? So you are almost forget. So when the user enters which input? Valid input to the project, then project gives what? Successful result. Already explained. So if you are not getting any exception here, result is ready. Such results are recommended to generate in where? Else block. Writing else block is an optional, not mandatory, but as a part of syntax, I'll write it. Here I'll write it. Block of statements, block of statements generates what? Result. Generates result. Try block, block of statement generates exceptions. I have multiple exceptions here and else block I wrote it. When the else block will execute, when the else block will execute, when there is no exceptions in try block, it will come to which block? Else block and provides the result. If there is any exception in try block, it will execute the appropriate exception except block and gives the appropriate results. I hope you are following me. So coming to the point back, now I'm going to enter into the execution process. This program, I will convert into what? This is without a try and except block. This is a weak program. Now I'm going to carry this, take this one. I'm going to write it others here in Python now. So look at that program for accepting two numerical values and find the division. So there I'm going to write it div2.py, div2.py. There I'm writing these statements. These statements are what? Exception generated statement, which I'm writing inside of each block, try block. Everything I wrote inside the try block, later I will split except. What are the exceptions which we noticed? Number one is called zero division error. This we noticed it. You may have a doubt about it. Sir, I don't know this exception name. These exceptions are automatically generated or not? By default, as a part of technical error message only, I found the name of the exception. So that is happily we can write it. Except I will write it zero division error. Zero division error. All the exception class names are supposed to write with the first letter capital letters. All the words first letters capital letters. Zero Z capital, division D capital, error E capital. Next is called what? Value error, V capital, value E capital. Two words are there, all two words must be capital. Are you following me? So module not found error, M capital, not N capital, found F capital, error E capital. Like that you need to write it. Zero division error, I need to write what? don't enter, don't enter. Here I am writing 0 for denominator. What is this line is called? What is this line is called? Still you are going out of order. Already written. Block of statement generates user-friendly error message. Already written here. Again and again I need not to. User-friendly error message. Start the flow. Start the flow. div2.py. div2.py. Going to this place. Here I am writing. Start running this code. div2 py div2. What is happening? Try colon I will write it. See that it is entered inside the try block because you have written inside that this statement. Enter a first value. First value 10. Second value 2. No problem in this. Successfully it is going to give the result. Successfully it is going to give the result. No except block, nothing is executed here. That means when there is no exception, total program will execute successfully. Next one I am going to take up 10 I am entering, 100 I am entering, 0 I am entering. What happens in that case? It is entered inside the try, getting conversion is done, and line number 13 is done. C is equal to A by B, 100 by 0. What is happening here? Exception is occurring. Come out of which block? Come on, come out of try block and looking for what? Except, what is this now? Zero division error. Because of that, what exception is occurring, PVM knows that exception Python programmer has written here and has written what the message is coming. So catch except block will not allow the PVM to generate its own technical error message, which will permit the PVM to give your message what you have written it. See the answer now. See the answer now. What we got it? Don't enter 0 for denominator. When you ran the previous program, when you say 100 and 0, which message I got it? Technical error message I got it. Which message I got now? User friendly error message I got it, which is so good compared to this kind of logic. I think you are following me. Go to back, go to back, exception generated statement, zero division error. This is called a value error is here. I think you are following me. Right, online students. Next, I'm going to enter into the div2. Once again, I'm going to run students 100 and 0. It is going to give you which message? User friendly error message. So whenever there is an exception is there, what is happening? It goes to the except block. One more time, let me run it. You are entering 10 and what? 2x you are entering. 10 and 2x. What will happen? It will come to line number 8, no problem. Line number 9, unable to convert. What will happen? Simply come out of which block? Try block. Looking for which block? Except block. What is happening in except block? Come on. It is going to give you what? Looking for this. Is it matching? No, it is looking for another except block. Do you have any other except block? No, definitely it is going to give you technical error message. It will leave the complete program and gives which message? Technical error message. So what should I define? Another except block I need to write. Except block number 2, except block number n. So I need to write this code now. Go to this place. Except I am writing. What is this? Value error. Value error. Print off what I'm saying. Backslash t. Don't enter. Don't enter ALNUMs, comma, STRs, STRs, and what next? Symbols. Symbols. I'm going to write it. I think you are following me. So coming to this place, save this code and execute. So program execution started 10 and then 0. We got it what? Don't enter 0 for denominator. You enter like this 20 and 2x you see and you got it. Don't enter ALNUMs, STRs and what? Symbols. What messages these two are called? What messages these two are called? User friendly error messages they are called. User friendly error messages they are called. So we need to give which messages? User friendly. Are you able to understand or not? Any exceptions are there in my program, those exception statements will be written under which block? Try block. So see students, all of you, What are the points to learn here? First point I'm going to say about try. What are all the exceptions are there in my program? Those statements must be written under which block? Try block. So in try block, once again I will repeat, it is a block in which we write the block of statements which are generating the exceptions in the Python program. Such statements I will write inside the try block. So try block is doing what? Monitoring the exceptions. It is called exception monitoring block. Try block is. So where do you write the exception statements from now onwards? Try block. Second statement. Whenever an exception is occurring in try block, comes out of which block? Try block. And execute which block? Except block. Except block it will look for. Except block it look for. That is the second point. Third point is what? Suppose if an exception is occurring in line number 9, which block is executing? Value error. Is it after executing 19, is it going back to the line number 10 now? No, that is nothing but once an accept block is executing, PVM control will not come back to the try block again. It is not coming back once again. That's the third point. Fourth point is what? Whenever I write the try block, compulsory you have to write which block? Except block. Suppose if I don't write except block like that, if I don't write except block like that, what error is coming? Syntax error. So every try block must contain what? At least one except block is required. It is also recommended to write more than one except block, no problem. But it is required to write at least one except block. It is the another point of try block. And one more thing is every try block immediately followed by which block? Except block. That means between try and except, you should not write any other statements. You should not write any other statement like this. Between try and except, you should not write any other statement. Students, you are not able to, some of the people are not opening their mouth because of my speaking. If you don't, if you feel lazy and sleepy, you will not understand my topic. I'm warning you once again, be careful in understanding. And spell out, you'll get it. Syntax error is coming. Allow is a statement which is separating what block? Try and except. So no intermediate statements are allowed between what? Try and except. So try and except are something like a railway tracks. You have to follow it. These are the points about which block? Try block. 5 points I said. But that try block is a block in which we write the block of statements generates the exceptions. First point. That's why try block is known as what? Exception monitoring block. Second one, whenever an exception is occurring in try block, PVM comes out of the try block and execute the appropriate except block. That's the second point. Third point. Third point I'm going to say. So in the third point, whenever an except block is after executing an except block, PVM will not execute the rest of the statements which are available in try block. PVM will continue the program execution only. It will not come back. I mean, if an exception is occurring at line number 8, it will come to value error. It won't go to the line number 9 once again. I think you are following. One more thing is every try block must be immediately followed by what? Except block. And no more intermediate statements to be written over there. If at all you write it, you got syntax error. And every try block must contain at least one except block, but it is recommended to write more number of except blocks. These are the points about the try block that I will give you the notes for you. Come to which block now? Except block. What is the speciality of except block? Here, except block is going to contain what? Except exception name, except exception name here. Are you able to follow? Right. So coming to this place, here I'm going to enter zero division error and value error is entering here. In this case, it is a block in which we write the block of statements gives which messages? User-friendly error messages. User-friendly error messages. Are you following me? That's why except block is suppressing which messages? technical error messages. You go for this div1, you say the value called it 100 and 0. This is called a technical error message. The technical error message is suppressed by what? Suppressed by what kind of statement? Execute that user friendly error message. User friendly error message. What the message you got it is completely technical error message. What the message you got it here? User friendly error message we got it. So except the block is suppressing the technical error message with what? User friendly error messages. It is known as what here? Exception processing block. Exception monitoring is a try. Exception processing is what? Except block. So to handle the exception, try and except blocks are compulsory. Handling the exception is nothing but writing try block plus writing the except block. Second point of that except block. When the except block will execute, when there is an exception in the try block, then the PVM will execute the appropriate except block. When there is an exception in try block, PVM will execute the appropriate except block. I hope you are following me. Done. Next case is what when there is an exception is occurring, at any point of time, only one except block is executing. I mean to say, even though there are many exceptions are there in Python program, all those except blocks will be executing only one exception at a time. It is not going to execute more number of exceptions. At any point of time, only one except block will execute, not more than one except block. But it is always recommended to write what? More number of except block. So some students are asking doubt, because don't ask, my dear students, any type of irritating doubts, because those doubts which the people are asking is completely out of order. You people are. So first out of order is this doubt. How we know all the errors? What I said already. What I said already. Because of this doubt, I'll get completely doubt about that student. First of all, are they understanding or not any? So I already said in the class, div1, 100 and 0 is entered. What is coming? I said myself only put a question. How we if we don't know the error names, how what will happen? 3, 4 times I said. If you ask such type of meaningless doubts, there is no meaning here. Whenever I run the program, automatically class name is coming or not? Is it not an error name? Already addressed or not? I already addressed it. This person should know about that kind of thing. If you don't listen the class, I never respond for such type of things. And moreover, I already said the error names. All the error names I said. If you don't remember the error names, it is a problem. So this point you was addressed it. It is out of order. Next one is one more thing. Same person. In this case, we need to know all the errors. Only we can write all the exceptions. Without knowing exceptions, you cannot write any program. A doctor need to know about the diseases and their types of medicines. If the doctor don't know anything and if the patient want to treat it, that will not become a successful candidate. So this is also same. And one more thing, this person, sir, can we do maximum number of invalid inputs? Like we give 3 inputs. And this is also one meaningless doubt because I wrote how many inputs here? 2. How can you accept 3 inputs? First of all, they should have the program to practice it. Without practicing anything, if you ask such things, it's a problem. First of all, you have to practice it. When I wrote to always customized programming, Python programming to write based on the requirement only. Program is written for one purpose, program is entered for some other purpose, is a illegal things. How many statements of input? How many inputs I can enter? How can I enter more than 3? More than 2? Are you following me? So you need to say enter first value, enter second value, I said. So coming to the point of it, here I am going to write it. So all the students requested to follow me. You need to follow here. Now I'm going to enter the zero division error and next is called what? Value error. I think you are following me. Good. Now here, those two people understood that names. Because if you don't follow, it's a difficult for you students, guys. Now coming to the point back, program execution started. This is done and it is disturbing my class flow also. If it is that case, now that case, zero division error, and we got this type of output here. And see this now, where I am going to entering into this case, zero division error, division by zero. So it is disturbing my flow because of that kind of thing. Because if I don't concentrate, they are going out of order. So here, this is my input return zero. Okay, I'm explaining except block. Except block is written, except multiple except blocks are written, and at any point of time, only one except block only executing, not multiple except blocks at any point of time. Because only one exception will be coming, only one except block will execute. I think you are following me. After executing except block, TVM control will not go to where? Right. So that is about L except block. What is the placement of writing else except block to be written after which block? Try block. But I wrote it after the try block only. And one more thing is, today I'm adding which statement? Else I'm adding. So you have seen already in my example, you got it already. div2, you write it. div2, 120, got the answer. You say 100, you got what? Message. Happy. One more kind of thing, 30 and then what? 2x. Again, I got it what? This type of messages. Are you able to follow me? This is what I'm getting. This is what I'm getting the data here. Finally, I'm concluding my sentences. I'm concluding my sentences. What are all the exceptions are there to make your program to be so strong? For every exception, you must write what? Exception here like this. And some of the people will write like this. That is called one of the useless kind of code what people teach us outside. What they will write, they will write like this. What they will write it? Print off, like this they will write it. Oops, something went wrong. Something went wrong. I will also explain what is the need of that. Something went wrong. They will write like this. Here, what they did not write, some of the people will try to convince the people. Remembering exceptions is very difficult. You write except, don't write exception name, they will write. They will try to convince like this because I have virtually watched some of the people's notes. Now, how indirectly they are disturbing the students' mindset, you cannot imagine students. So, except the colon, they will write it. Try to run this now. This is one of the dummy program. I am writing here dummy program. And this type of thing, people are writing. This is one of the useless program. But when to write it, I will tell in the class. Look at what is our py, dummy.py. How they will convince say they will say, see, this is a program. You have to write a zero division error, value error. It is difficult for the people to remember. And don't remember anything. Go for what? Go for writing like that. Where is that code? Here, like this. Write only like this. And what is happening? Except, oops, something went wrong, they will say. This is the code they will say. What student will do? Innocent student will do what? Okay, correct. Now, sir said no need to remember 10 to 15 exceptions. Only like that. He said that don't remember anything. Okay, you will attract towards that and you will feel that, oh, my sir is teaching very well. Now you will feel what? Execute. Person like me, when you come to an interview, he will show HD cinema for you. See that. Enter this and you will say to getting output. No problem. Next time you are entering 100 and 0. What is happening? When the 100 and 0 is happening, it will come out of which block? Try block. It will go to except block, which doesn't take anything. That means it will take all exceptions. It will take all exceptions will be taken. You please press the enter key. What is coming? Oops, something went wrong. Are you following me? Next you enter. Next you enter. Oops, something went wrong. What went wrong, you are not telling. Oops, something went wrong, you are saying. What went wrong? If an interviewer asks, what do you say? Oops, something went wrong, you will say. What went wrong, you will ask. Oops, something went wrong, you will say. Next you will say what? 100 you will say 2x. 2x. Again what is coming? Oops, something went wrong. Anything occur? Oops, something went wrong. Entry is asking, tell me, in first case, what went wrong? Tell me. In second case, what went wrong? Tell me. What you will say? Oops, something went wrong. He will say, he will oops from the interview. This is called one of the way students are getting disturbed. This case you go to it, this case you go for it. If you enter ATM pin enter wrong, is it giving oops something went wrong? What it says? Invalid pin, try again. There is which exception? Pin error. You enter invalid amount to withdraw. What is giving? Insufficient fund. Try again. What is that error called? Insufficient fund error. When you keep the card reverse order, what is coming? Please remove the card and insert properly. How many messages are coming? Three messages for three mistakes. Correct or not? Because here what is happening? For every mistake, what is coming? Oops, something went wrong. So who went wrong? I don't know. Student went wrong or teacher went wrong or I don't know. Finally, student, teacher, both of them oops only. Teacher will not have any problem, but student is having the problem. That is the main point. So this is what people are disturbing. When you go to this level, when you go to our program code, this I am writing it. So 100 and then 2, this is an output. You say 100 and 0, let it be 0 and 0 is entered. It is don't enter 0 for denominator. 2x I am entering and say something like KVR here. Don't enter like this. This is called a perfect program in the industry. Sir, what is the use of then why this is available? I will tell in the class. I will tell in the class what is the need of it. How I will tell in the classroom. I will tell you in a real time how to use it. We are going to tell. That's why I will tell in this is a dummy program. I will also tell, but how I will tell, I need to explain. But I need to explain systematically. Are you understanding about the except block? So Asif, so you know very much about my college faculty, sir. I don't know. So, Asif, I don't know about how can I know about your college faculty, Asif, my dear student. So, Suresh, else keyword will come in loop statement also. How PVM will understand this else for exception and statement flow? Please clarify. My dear student Suresh, because PVM knows else block for which one is saying, which one while loop. PVM also knows for if statement also, now. So PVM is not designed by Suresh or KVR or something like Asif. PVM is designed by what? Guido van Rossum. He designed the construct and rules and regulations. And here I am writing it. What is this now? Else block. Because of these doubts now, I'll be getting where the student is thinking, how the student thinking power. Once no exception is occurring, where it is going? Else block. Once if test condition is false, go to where? Else block. In where? If once while loop completely executing, going to where? Else. The total concept is different. Are you following me? So else block, there I am going to write result related statement. I will write it. What is the result is available? This print statement. This print statement I will cut from there. Here I wrote the print statement and I will take up one more time. What is the next result? This type of statement also I will carry. This type of statement also I will carry. Div is equal to program execution ended. I wrote it. I think you are following me. So I think you are following me. Program execution started. Only exception related statements I wrote. Result related I am keeping in where? Else. So I'm just writing here a small point here. Print off. Print off. So I am from else block. I am from else block. Just I am giving a message here. Try to run it. Save this code. Here I am writing. Of course, I need to write in this place only, not in this place. Cut this part. Here only you try to write it. Else part I wrote it. This point side should not write it over here. So C is equal to A by B only. This statement I should not write it. It is already written. Try to run this code. Div2. Execute now. Py. Div2. Say this now. 120. Which block is coming? Else block is coming. Which block is not executing? Except block. Because this is a syntax now. Syntaxes are already there in the PVM, right or not? All Python software is going to contain this. How else is while loop, how else is if statement, how else is try, because these are all called a language development. Language development. I hope Suresh, I'm clear about it. I think it is, I think it is going to be coming to the point of it. So coming to the point of it, Mr. Suresh, I hope you got it. Okay. So I think you got it. Now I'm going to enter into the C. Another point I'm going to write it. What the else block is meant for? Else block is meant for what? It is a block. See, except block is written between what? Else block and try block. Writing else block mandatory or optional? Optional. I may write it. I may not be writing. If I am not writing, but result you have printed inside of a try block. But it is recommended to write a separate try except block for each exception. Write a separate block for what? Result generation. Writing or not? Just like your house you are constructing, different rooms you are constructing for it. For easy maintenance of your application. That is comes under what block? Else block. I hope you are following me. Good. Let us coming to the next one more block is also there. Finally block I will write it. Finally block I am writing. Finally block. What is this finally block is? Simple. Here try block is there. In the try block what chances are there? Exception may occur. No exception will occur. If exception will come, what will happen? Exception will occur, what will happen? Exception will occur, what is happening? Except block will execute and later it will go to where? Finally block. Like when you keep the ATM card in your machine, that ATM machine you are doing what? Pin number wrong you are saying. What is happening? Remove the invalid pin, try again, visit again. You are getting. Visit again is coming from which block? That visit again will come after withdraw the amount also visit again will come. Try again, it is also going to come withdraw again, try again. That is nothing but which block it is? Finally block. So I mean to say, finally block will execute all the times, irrespective of the type of exception is occurring or not. If no exception is occurring here, which block will execute? Else block will execute. And immediately it will go to which block? Finally block. What is the need of finally block? I will tell you. First, understand how it will execute. Second one is called what? If exception is occurring in try block, what will happen? It will go to except block. Any one of the except block will execute and finally go to where? That means if you enter a correct input, you are giving the output and you have to say program execution completed. So where I am writing the program execution ended? Finally block. Program execution ended in how many cases? Two cases. One is result case and one more is called exception case. Don't enter 0 for denominator and you are saying what? Program execution ended. Result is coming, program execution ended. Which is the best place for program execution ended to be written? Finally block. Because finally block will execute compulsorily, irrespective of the exception is occurring or not. Occurring or not. So execute this code now. Go to this place, py. So here, enter the data here. And the 2 is here. What is happening? I am from else block. Program execution ended. If you want, I can add one small thing. Here I am writing finally block. Finally block I am writing. So program execution ended. You say here 120 going to this place else block and then finally block execution ended. If I am saying here 10 and 0, 10 and 0, what is happening? Program execution started. Don't enter 0 for denominator except block. Finally block program execution is ending. Are able to follow now? Right? This is comes under which block here? Finally block. I'll tell you what is the need of finally block. Just give me a few minutes. Are you able to understand else block? Why do you use else block? to generate the result. You may ask a question, sir, can I generate the result in the try block itself? Yes, you can develop. But try block is meant for what purpose? Exception monitoring. If exception is there, write the statement. Result is coming, write in else. Exception related user friendly messages are there, write in except. Any common thing you want to write it, you write it under where? Finally. What is the need of finally? I'm going to give you the example, best example I will give you. Technical example I will give you. Are you following me? Right. So coming to the point of it, Pratik, Pratik Gupta, can we write alias names for these try blocks and for other blocks as well? So my dear student, just now I'm entering and you people are getting uh, entering into that. So can we write alias names for this try block? Alias names means what? Ma? Alias names means what? I'm not getting you. Try as a T. So is there any such syntax, Pratik? Hmm? Any such syntax? Just to send one mail to the Rosam, Guido Van Rosam, you send a message like that. So first you try to think about how to survive in this industry. If there is no such a syntax, how can you expect that I'm going to give try as a T like that? This is what I'm getting uh, problem with the students. If I see the chat box, I will get this type of content. If I keep the content like this, nothing will be there. Because I'm a little sensitive faculty, I'm going to give you good content for the people and try as a T like that. Try as a T like that. What will happen because of that? If I don't answer, student will feel. If I try to answer, it's my time waste. If any such syntax is there, myself only tell now. Hmm? So like that students are. What can I do, students? So don't try to, because students, one final sentence I'm saying, if anything is useful, if anything is useful, I will attempt to do that. I'll attempt to enter into that. And if anything is not at all having meaning, I'll never interact with that kind of things. Keep in mind, if sir is not interacting, don't think like that. If any meaning is there, I will interact. If meaning is not there, if I try to go for it, it's my time waste. Unnecessarily, I'm going to waste my time on such a kind of doubts. Right? Let them go to the further discussion now. So, my dear students, all of you, try to say, if anything is there, you try to write it. I will tell in the class compulsory. Try as a T, except as E, ABC as PQR. Such a type of syntax is not there. If anything is there, if you still have that language related doubts, why try is try, why try is not something like like a pratik, why try is like try, why not try, like that you try to contact the Guido Van Rossum only, not caviar. Caviar cannot do anything. Try will be given by the Guido Van Rossum. We are using the same thing only. This is my advice, my dear student. Try to follow me carefully. Because if you ask such type of doubts, I'll be losing confidence on you people and getting problem in understanding. Right. Let us move to the further. Did you understand this discussion now? I'll go to the final A block after 2 minutes. I'll explain this concept here. If any kind of thing is there, I'm only the one which I'm explaining complete subject student. Don't get any such type of doubts. Because if you get that type of doubts, I'm uncomfortable in dealing such things. Because it's a problem for me in dealing such things. That's why. Understand me? Let me move to the smooth kind of subject here. So I'm going to enter into this place, handling the exceptions in Python. Here I'm having. Look at that carefully. Now I'm going to take up. Handling the exceptions is nothing but converting technical error messages into user-friendly error messages. For converting technical error messages into user-friendly error messages, we have 5 keywords in exception handling concept. They are try, except, else, finally, raise. So the keywords concept is syntax is like this. Try, except the class name 1, except class name 2, except class name n, block of statements, and finally, block of statements generates results of the program. And finally, block of statements executes compulsorily. Let me show you this explanation for those kind of things, which I explained what is try and what is except. Finally, also I will explain students, and I want to show you that explanation here. Explanation for the keywords. Let me show you the points which I said to you just now. Come on, all of you read out. It is the block in which we write a block of statements or generating exceptions. In other words, what are all the statements are generating exceptions? Those statements must be written within try block, and hence a try block is called exception monitoring block. When an exception occurs in try block, then PVM comes out of try block and executes appropriate except block. After executing appropriate except block, PVM never goes to try block for executing the rest of the statements in try block. Every try block must be immediately followed by except block. Otherwise, we get syntax error. Syntax error. Every try block must contain at least one except block. It is recommended to write multiple except block for generating user-friendly error messages. These are the points which are going to be discussing. In further, I will tell you in the coding part, try I will write. Inside the try, I will write another try also I will write it. Like if, inside the if, another if, like nested ifs. While loop, inside the while loop, that is called a nested while loop. Try, within the try, I can write it. That is called a nested try, I can write it. Are you following? Right. So next, except block I said to you, except block. These are the very, very important points. What do you mean by try? And you have watched the program also in my class, how try works, and you have seen it. Now I'm going to give you, now I'm going to give you one more kind of thing here. So let us go to the except block. It is the block in which we write block of statements, generates user-friendly error messages. In this, in other words, except block suppresses technical error messages and generates user-friendly error messages, and hence except block is called exception processing block. Note, handling exceptions is equal to writing try block plus writing except block. Writing try block plus writing what? Except block. Except block will execute when there is an exception occurs in try block. Except block will execute when there is an exception occurs in try block. Even we write multiple except blocks, PVM executes appropriate except block. That is a single block. Depends on type of exception occurs in try block. Recursion try block. The place of writing except block is that after a try block and before else block. There is the placement of writing except. Now else block I am going to show you. Else block. It is the block in which we write block of statements will display results of the program, and hence else block is called result generated block. Next, else block will execute when there is no exception in try block. Writing else block is optional. I may write it, I may not able to. I may write it, I may not write it. The place of writing else block is that after except block and before finally block, if finally block present. If you see our syntax also here, if you see our syntax also here, the syntax if you look at here, if you look at the else block is written after which block? Except and before. So you cannot change it. After try, you cannot write which block? Else. That is an order, students. Try, except, else, and finally. Now let me go for. Suppose if I don't, writing else block is optional, I said. After except block, what can come? Finally. But you cannot write the else after try. Are you following? Now I'm talking about the finally block importance. Finally block importance, I'm going to talk about it. So let us go to the finally block importance. Very, very important. try. So I got it. Line number 1, line number 2. Like that, I'm having so many lines of code. Like that, I'm having so many lines of code. My dear students, carefully follow me. I'm telling the need of finally block in real time. Need of finally block in real time. I'm explaining. Carefully try to follow. So here I'm going to take up. Here I'm going to take up like this. So here I'm going to take up like this. So try block I'm saying. Here it is written like this. Here I'm writing. Here it is written like this. Now I'm saying here, except I'm writing. What is this now? Exception class name. One exception class name you will write or not? Now, now, here I'm going to write it. Here I'm writing some block of statements. Here I'm writing one more, except here also one more except block I am writing. This is also going to be written some more block of statements. Like that, I wrote what here? Multiple except blocks I am writing or not? Right. Later, what will be there? Else part. Here, what are you doing? Result you are generating. Correct. Result you are generating. Now I am writing what last? Finally. What is the need? Finally, block will execute when exception is occurring. Finally, block will execute after except block. No exception is occurring. Finally, block will execute after else. Now, sir, when to write? What is the need of writing? Now I'm going to take up. See, students, this is called line number 1, line number 2, line number 3, line number 4, line number 5, so on, so on, so on. 99 lines and then 100 lines I wrote the code. Assume. Carefully listen. In line number 1, we are going to see after this topic files. In C language, there is a concept called files. C language. No teacher will explain files. And a student also will not ask the doubts. Why? They don't understand any subject in that. Files. What is the need of files? To store my data permanently. To store my data permanently, we use files. Alternatively, we can use to store the data permanently. We use what? Database softwares also. You will use it. Database softwares also you will use it. What is the database softwares? Oracle you can use, MySQL you can use, MongoDB. You can use any one of the database software. That also I will explain in the class. But the Python database communication. That is exclusively put that curriculum in my batches only. So coming to that, files and databases are the repositories where I can store the data. Your Aadhaar card information, you take it. Where it is stored in? Database. Your university of students information, you take it, put it in the database. You take a small school which is maintaining their students information and everything, they may store it in where? Files. So files or databases are the repositories where data can be stored permanently. So I am developing one application to store the data, to retrieve the data from the files and databases. What I will do? I need to open the file, or I need to get database connection. I got it. Connection from obtained connection from where? Database software, where the data stored in the form of tables. Are you following me? What is my intention? I want to open my file where my file contains student data. Or I want to connect to my database. One table is there, employee. I want to retrieve the data from employee table. So line number 1 is called what? Opening my file or getting the database software connection from that. So that in second line, third line, fourth line, fifth line, I'm processing my file data or database data. So this is called what? You are getting, here you are getting resources. Resources means what? The places where data was stored. From that resource, I am going to read the data. Anything which you are reading the data or anything you are storing the data, they are called simply repositories, which I am opening it. That is called getting the resources. I am opening a file to get the data. I'm going to get a connection from the database for reading the data from the tables. and I wrote some number of lines of code here. And once your processing is over, what are you doing in 100 line? You are closing the file. Are you closing the file or not? Or you are releasing the database connection? Release the DB connection. Release the DB connection. That means what? You are closing the resources. Closing the resources. Why are you not? Why are you closing the resources? Why are you closing the resources? Why are you closing the resources? If my file is active, still my database connection is continuing, there is a chance of other program may intervene, and there is a chance of interfering. There is a chance of misleading the data of the file or database connection. That's why once your task of file operation or database operation is over, it is always recommended to close my file. Once you come to the class, you will open your notes. Once your class is over, you will close your notes and keep it in the bag. Will you take the opened notes outside? No. Once you opened the file, it is mandatory for you people to close the file. If I don't close my file, if I don't release my database connection, what is happening? There is a chance of what? If you forget to close the file or release the database connection, there is a chance of leaving the file data as inconsistent. The stability of the database will be lost. So to avoid that kind of problems, you are supposed to close the file. Which line I wrote it? 100 line. So getting the resources in try block only, releasing the resources also in where itself, try block only. For example, in line number 10, there is one statement is there. Incidentally, there is a statement called what? 10 by 0. 10 by 0. What will happen? What will happen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No problem. 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then there is an exception, correct or not? Once there is an exception, what will happen? Simply, it will go to where? Except the block area, it will come. Execute any one of it and go to which block? Finally block. Which one is losing in this case? We are not able to close the file. It won't go to where 11th line and then 99 line, 100 line, it won't go. That means once an exception is occurring in the middle of it, what you are not able to close, file you are unable to close. Are you getting me? So that time what will happen? Exception occurs, you are unable to close the file. So what is the better place? An intelligent person will do what? The 100 line will be written in which place? Here it is written. Start the flow now. Start the flow now. It is going to be called what again here? We are supposed to take it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to 10. Exception is occurring. Come out of that try block and execute the appropriate except block. Simply go to where? So what I am doing? I am closing my file. Are you able to follow? Suppose students, one first line you are opening, second line, third line, 10th line. It is having what? 100 by 10. It is also smoothly executing. Everything is executing. 99 lines executed. In which block? Try block. Come out of which block? Try block. Looking for what? Else block. After else block, looking for what? In finally block, what are you doing? So what is the best place for closing my files if at all files are there in my program? Final block. Finally block is the best place for closing my resources. In try block, you may get the resources. That resources you are closing. That resources you are giving up. Give up. That resources you are cleaning up. That resources you are going to release. These are all called what? These are all called, a technical word is called what? Relinquish. RULIN. Relinquishing the resources. You are releasing the resources. You are relinquishing the resources which are obtained in which block? Try block. What are all the resources are available in try block that are going to be relinquished and come out of it? What is the best place for relinquishing the resources? Finally block. So he is writing the finally block mandatory all the time. It is optional. Optional. When I will write finally block, when there are resources, then I will write which block. If there are no resources in my program, definitely I will not write what? That's why finally block is an important in Python programming. Definitely every interviewer will ask you, what is the need of finally block? Tell me now. Finally block. It is the block in which we write block of statements will relinquish. Relinquish means release, close, give up, clean up the resources. Nothing but files or database softwares which are obtained in try block. And finally block is called resource relinquishing block. Always resources will be relinquished in which block? Finally block. Finally block will execute compulsorily. Finally block is optional to write it. The place of writing finally block is that after else block, if else block present. So if else block present. I hope you are following me. Else finally block to be written after else. Suppose if else is not there, what will happen? If else is not there, what will happen? Except block after what is coming. Suppose if you are writing except block also you are not writing. Else block is also not there. What I can write it? Try and finally also I can write it. No issue about it. Are you following me? Right. See students, only resource is there here. No more exception is there in that. That time I'll write which block only? Final block. Are you able to follow? This is about the syntax for handling the exception, which is a very, very important, whose explanation also I gave you students. These points are very, very important. I hope students, you understood the discussion, what I made it. So I hope that the div2, what I wrote it is called what? Zero division error, value error is written. Another one is also written, dummy code. What is the importance of it? In the next class, I will discuss. Right now, don't worry. Today I said what? What is the basic structure of handling the exception? What is the syntax for all these keywords? Programmatically, I explained it. So I'll stop my class. And the next class, when I come back, how to develop our own exception and a complete programming will be done. Right? So don't miss tomorrow class and read well, read the notes properly, write the notes and come to the class. Okay. Thank you. Carry on. Online students, if any doubts are there, you hold on. I'll clarify your doubts. Yeah, Laksha, tell me.
First of all, sorry, sir. Sorry for
No,
disturbing
no,
the class.
no, not like that, ma, not like that. Because what doubt you asked about it? I did
Uh,
not even remember. No problem. Nothing will happen. But thing is,
Sir, actually,
hmm,
what I was able to told, I wasn't able to type in the chat.
hmm,
So can I say it now?
no, no problem. Tell me.
Sir, I was saying, like in real time ATM, like for example, we take ATM.
Hmm,
In that, if we type our pin more than 3 or 4 times, wrong pin if we type more than 3 or 4 times, then
hmm.
it tells that it is like you have 3 more chances to do, 2 more chances to do, like
No,
that
you
I
can
was
take it.
asking.
But your doubt is not that part, right? Your doubt was what? Accepting three inputs.
No
Three
sir, I was
inputs.
asking like we get message like only 3 more invalid inputs are allowed,
So that no, no. What your
like
sentence is?
invalid pin, I
If
was
I accept
asking.
if I accept three inputs, what will happen? That is our message. That meaning will come. So
Yes
what is
sir,
the
I
doubt you
wasn't
asked?
able to
Okay,
type
okay,
that
man. Not
exactly.
a problem. Not a problem. You come
Yes
to
sir.
that. Suppose if you want to give an opportunity to the person to check only three times, you take a counter variable and keep that statement in the loop while true. Enter the input. First time is wrong. Increment the counter variable. Counter is equal to counter plus one. Next,
Mhm.
go to the next time asking. Next time also wrong. Counter is becoming 2. Next time asking. Counter is becoming 3. Fourth time typing. That card will be blocked. Blocking is nothing but what? That card number will be removed from the database. That you can deal with it very easily. by going
Like
for
if
the
I
counter
want to
variable.
make a program, then I'll
Yes,
make
we
it
have to
today
write it.
only.
Mm,
What I'll do is as you said, I'll do a while loop, while true,
mm,
and
mm,
then yeah, I'll make a counter, and
yes.
then when counter reaches to 3, then
Mm,
I'll just exit the program.
exit the program and saying that it's not possible to, you are an unauthenticated person, like that you can say.
Okay, sir.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, right. And next, Simhadri. Student name is Simhadri. Simhadri. Student name Simhadri.
Yeah, sir, can you hear me now?
Yes, tell me.
Sir, so if we enter for zero, like you have said that example, right? So it is not asking for the one more time. So
Mm,
can we do again for the like asking the input?
once again, ma, can you repeat again?
Yeah. So we have given two values, right? 100 and first value 100 and second value 0. So we'll get an error like zero division error. So is
Mm,
it possible to again enter?
mm.
So what we can like write for that code?
Very simple. So if you have studied the loops concept already, it's a very
Yes.
dead easy. So what you will do here, I can write it while loop here. I can write while loop. While loop, you need to use while true. Already we discussed that.
Yes, yes,
So
correct, sir.
here I will write it while true. So you will
Okay.
say this now. And when the result is coming, you say exit. You say
Okay.
exit. Here I will write break, you say break. You say break. You try to do this div3.py. Anyhow, you will come across in my class this part. So
Okay,
here
sir.
you write it py div3. So 10 and 100 and 0. It is called like that. Again, program execution started. Enter the value 200, something like 2x. It is saying don't enter that. And I need to say enter first value 30 and say 5. It is just giving the result, exiting the program. Okay, now?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. And one more doubt, like, so I would like to ask a suggestion for that. I have learned SQL and
Mm,
now I'm learning like Python. So
mm,
is it like we need to learn? I want to become a data analyst.
mm.
So should I learn Power BI or Tableau, or is it
Yes.
possible? So it would be fine
Uh,
for the Matplotlib also use for the same thing.
why don't you plan for data science?
So actually, I'm a working profession. So
Mm,
I had 3 years of experience. So I'm
mm,
planning to switch company for the data
mm.
analyst. After that, I will plan to data analyst.
Okay. Go for Power BI.
Okay, sir.
Right.
Thank you. Thank
Uh,
you so much, sir.
Right. Thank you. Okay, students, take care. All the best. Don't miss further class. All the best, students.